Hey guys, and welcome back to Will's Workshop. In today's episode, we're going to go over how to remake a set of leg armor. Now, it just so happens I have an older set that's kind of been falling apart, and my buddy Frosty's here, and we're going to be remaking his, actually. But I wanted to give you a real quick rundown of how this works before we get into the actual making of it. So what I have here is an older piece of leg armor. This would be for my left leg, and you'll notice it's a really weird shape when it's all flat out like this, and this is an important shape. When it actually wraps around your leg, this part is what hangs from your belt, hopefully a C belt, and that's on your left hip, like right up here. And when it's folded up like this and wrapped around, you'll notice there's a cutout on the back here, and this is a very important section of the armor that enables you to move comfortably in it. That basically allows you to bend your knee. So this is the inside of the armor. When it closes around your leg, it closes behind you like that. Something else that I will note, and I'll note this again later on, the way these straps work, they are not right on the edge. If you put them right on the edge, it'll never close all the way, and you won't get the adjustability that you want, because, I mean, let's face it, your body changes. You work out, your legs get bigger, you gain weight, whatever. So you always want to set your straps in a bit on your armor. And this goes for any piece of armor that you hope to be adjustable. The other thing I've done with these is that you'll notice this strap actually goes into a slit here in the leather so that it is sandwiched between this piece of leather and the inner armor here. It's actually under this padding. So it's in this little section in here, and what that does is it protects the leather, keeps it from cracking and breaking on you super easily. And I've done that on both sides here with the buckles too. Again, they're not right on the edge of the piece, they're set in and they go under the leather and under the kydex on the inside. So this shape, when you're patterning it out, typically what you want to do is have your buddy, the person you're making the armor for, wear a pair of sweatpants or some kind of pajama pants that they don't care about at all. Because what you're going to do is you are going to have them wear those pants, you're going to duct tape their legs, and then you'll draw this shape on them. So you can then cut it off of them and you have your exact pattern for their exact leg shape and type. So the way that this shape looks when you flatten it out, you've got your hip peak. This is the part that is going to attach to your belt. The belt will come out here, right? And then you've got a very much shorter section that ends up being the back of the armor, and a very much longer section that ends up being the front of the armor. So we're looking at this, right? So you've got the front coming off in a big shallow curve this way, right? And then it cuts in a little bit like that. And then what you end up having on the back side, this piece is a bit of a steeper angle, doesn't go quite as far back, comes down, we've got our little cutout for our knee, and then this bit right here. And then to attach your knee armor, all I've done here is I've drilled two little holes that I would run a leather string through, and that's what I attach my knees to. So those two little holes end up going pretty much right about here-ish, because that's where your knee's going to be. So again, that's the patterning process. This is the shape you're looking for. Again, because when you roll it up and wrap it around a cylindrical object like your leg, again, it ends up forming this nice leg shape. So, left leg, armor, all set and ready to go. Straps behind so they don't get in your way. It's based on a period pattern that we've just kind of tweaked to be able to do it with Kydex or ABS plastic. The point is it's moldable at heat, and then when it cools down it retains its shape and rigidity. And we'll get into how you shape that stuff in a regular oven. It's lots of fun. But I think that about explains it, so we'll go ahead and we'll jump right into this. So, back in a flash. Okay, I lied. Before we get into the actual building process, I just wanted to kind of explain the patterning process real quick on the board, because we're going to be skipping over that for this project. So I wanted to give you a better idea how this works when you've got somebody and you're making a fresh pair of legs. So what I've got on here on the board, front, side, back view of legs, right? So what you would do is you'd have your buddy, again, wear a pair of pants that they don't care about because they're going to get destroyed. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to duct tape their legs down to the knees here. Both legs from hip to knee. Completely duct taped. Okay? And then, once you've got them duct taped, what you're going to do is you're going to get a Sharpie out and you're going to draw on your buddy. So this is a great, like, break the ice bonding experience here. So if we're looking at the front here, the line, like I said before, the armor needs to connect at the belt. So we're starting up here. And what you're going to do is you're just going to trace a line that follows right down to the top of the inner thigh, right there. And then you're going to trace right here, right before where they would have their knee armor. We don't want this armor extending down. In fact, I drew that a little bit too low. We don't want it extending down so far that it inhibits his kneecap. Typically, with this particular type of armor, you're looking at a single kneecap. It can be done with articulated knees, but it works best with a single kneecap. So when he's got that kneecap on, you've got this basic shape for the kneecap, right? So you want your line, because your attachment point is going to be about here. You want your line for that armor to basically come through and meet your attachment point there. So if we go over to the side view here, again, you've got your attachment point for the belt there. This is going to come down right there, and this will come down right behind the booty. And then again, from the front view, your kneecap's going to look something like this, right? So then you want that line again to go right here. Now this is the important part. You need to be able to bend your knee. So right about the middle of your leg here, you want to start that curve going up, right? So on the back, if we look at the back, again, attachment point here, this line is actually, this is the steeper one. So it's actually going to start coming in right under the butt, right there. So it'll be on this side, and it'll come in under here. And then again, we need this cutout here. So that is going to be roughly here and curve down something like that. So when it's all put together from the back side, you're looking at something like this. And here's where you would put your slit and your buckles on the back. On the side, it's going to look something like this. And on the front, it'll look something like that. Now, the important thing to know here, when you're patterning this out, when you cut this shape out, and it's just the duct tape and the cloth, this is your leather. When you go back, and you can use this pattern for both the leather and the Kydex, but what you got to realize when you're cutting the Kydex out for the inside of the leather, the Kydex starts, you got to do this on the side here, but the Kydex is on the inside of the leather. So you don't want the Kydex up here where it attaches to your belt. So you're going to go down a bit. And you're going to keep that Kydex about 1/4 inch on the inside of your leather. Because if it goes all the way flush with the leather, it's not going to look good and it's not going to function the way you want it to. You want about 1/4 inch on all sides of your Kydex or plastic, whatever you happen to be using. You need that 1/4 inch on all of it. So again, 1/4 inch here and here. I hope that gives you a good idea of how this patterns out. We'll get to refitting Frosty's legs here in a little bit, and you'll get a more visceral sense of how this works. So, again, okay, so with Frosty's armor, we've gone ahead and we've cut out the leather for the outside of his leg. The other thing that we've done is we've removed the panels from his old armor and traced them out and cut them out so that we can place them on this leg piece the way they will go when they're made out of Kydex. So with Frosty's, we cut it into 3 separate panels. So we have our first panel going on. This little guy is basically that's what wraps around the back of Frosty's leg. The second panel is going to be the part right behind his butt, but it also, this line right here demarks the middle of his leg on the side. So this section, Frosty, can you point for me? That section there, that's the back. That top curve there, that's right under his butt. So if you can imagine this piece and this piece both being made out of Kydex. And then we have this longer front piece that he's going to place now. And that goes right there. So as you can see, we've got about 1/4 inch on all sides except for the very top. The very top is where we're going to attach it to his belt. So that does not need the Kydex. But these 3 pieces here represent the plastic that we are going to cut out and then mold to his leg and then attach to this leather. And then we'll wrap it around him and it'll be beautiful. So as always, back in a flash. Okay guys, so what we have done is we've taken our pattern pieces and traced them out on the plastic and we've cut them all out. So this is what we've got so far. We'll start over here on the back end. Our first little piece is going to lay out right over there. You'll see that we've labeled it. This is our number 1 piece. Over here we've got some room that we actually need to trim off still, but that's okay. We'll get to that in a little bit. So that's piece number 1. Piece number 2 is going on right there. You'll see I've cross-hatched both pieces to indicate where the hinges are in this pattern. Piece number 3 and final piece is the front piece and it lines up right like that. So what I've done, we've cut these out with a jigsaw. These are about, I want to say, somewhere between an 1/8 and a 1/4 inch thick, what is it, ABS, quarter inch thick ABS plastic. This will mold beautifully when we heat it up. It'll shrink a little bit too. The other thing, you'll note we've got some marks here where we've noted that the cut wasn't perfect. The next step in this process after we've cut the plastic is we have to take this plastic to a belt sander. Now, I lost my word there for a second, but we have to take it to a belt sander and we have to round out all the edges, because right now what we're left with are these very, very sharp, see if I can grab this with one hand, very sharp, very pointy edges, and they're kind of rough from the jigsaw. So we're going to take it to a sander, and with the sander we can get some final and fine-tuned shaping in. So we are going to round all the hard corners. We're going to remove some material that we don't need, and we're going to make them all smooth and round so that when we shape them and put them together in the leg, there's nothing to bite and to bind, and there's nothing sharp that's going to stick in your leg while you're fighting, because trust me, that will suck. Unfortunately, however, this is all the time that we have for today's episode, so we're going to have to cut it here, but I hope you've got a general idea of how this goes, and please tune in next time for when we finish sanding, mold the plastic, rivet it to the leather, strap it up, and get it on a body as a functional piece of armor. So guys, that's going to wrap up this portion of the leg armor making project. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you were able to follow along. If you have any questions, please do leave those in the comments below. Make sure that if you liked this video, show me the love, hit that like button, maybe hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate every view and every comment that I get, and I try to interact with each. So, without any further ado, I just want to say I've been Will, this has been Will's Workshop, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye guys. Bye.